Hello, you're welcome. My name is Dr. Chris Williams, and I'm your host on Well Again. Well Again is your online health magazine program where we employ lifestyle, nutritional, dietary, biblical alternatives to recovering from sickness and staying in good health. Today we are discussing conquering high blood sugar. It's otherwise known medically as diabetes mellitus. Okay, by way of explaining it, it's a situation in which the body is unable to utilize sugar. Okay, and as such, the resultant effect is that there's very high blood sugar or blood glucose streaming around the blood, but not enough getting into the cells. Okay, so the body is loses its ability or its capacity to utilize sugar appropriately. So the end effect is that there's high glucose or high sugar streaming around in the blood, but very little getting into the system. So what happens is, at some point or the other, the cells become resistant to insulin. Now, insulin is an hormone produced in the pancreas, and one of its job is to escort glucose from the blood into the cell, across the blood cell barrier. So the job of the insulin is to literally bind with glucose and then push it from the blood into the cell. Now, when the cells become insensitive or resistant to insulin, the cells automatically become resistant to glucose, because insulin is what pushes glucose into the cells. Now, cells become resistant to insulin, and as such become resistant to insulin. So that's what leads to diabetes. We know that there are three types of diabetes. There is the one that is as a result, we call it the type 1 diabetes. It's otherwise known as the juvenile onset diabetes, and we can also refer to it as the congenital diabetes. One way or the other, that gland called the pancreas that used to produce insulin is either damaged before the person is born or damaged as soon as they are born. So before you know it, they are unable to produce insulin adequately, and then it results into diabetes. We call it type 1 diabetes. You see, for diabetes to be in place, the gland that produces insulin has to be defective. Okay, so we're saying that as soon as somebody is born, or even before they are born, if something happens to the pancreas and the pancreas becomes defective, it begins to produce defective insulin, which are not able to manipulate their way into the cell. So we call that congenital or juvenile diabetes. Sometimes before you know it, before 5 years, a child is diabetic. Before 10 years, a child is diabetic. Now, medicine is going a bit slow on using this type of categorization, because sometimes we are seeing children that have fully formed, well-formed pancreas. Nothing is wrong with their pancreas at all, genetically, congenitally. However, the lifestyle that they have, that their parents have subjected them to, caused their pancreas to give way early. So we are seeing children 5 years, we are seeing children 8 years, even 10 years, already developing diabetes. Okay. There's a type 2 diabetes called the adult onset. diabetes. So the difference between it and the first one is that nothing was wrong with the pancreas at when the child was born. However, lifestyle, which we are going to talk about a lot of them, knocked out the pancreas before the child started their life, and then it's now called adult onset. Or as the person is growing old, by 30, by 25, their terrible lifestyles have knocked out the pancreas, so the pancreas is no longer able to secrete adequate and healthy insulin, and so this is why we call it adult onset. Usually, if all things were equal, more people develop adult onset diabetes when they are either in their 30s or in their 40s, especially 50s and then 60s. All right, but because of the terrible lifestyle that people are living today, we are seeing it even occur very early. We are seeing it at 20, we are seeing it at 22, we're even seeing it at 12, 15, or 10 sometimes. Now, there's a type 3 diabetes. Type 3 diabetes is otherwise referred to as Alzheimer's disease. In Alzheimer's disease, the person may or may not have shown that they had diabetes all their lives. Only the first sign that they have diabetes will be when they begin to have issues, issues with Alzheimer's disease. Alzheimer's disease is a type of dementia in which the person begins to have a lot of memory loss issues, concentration issues, judgment issues, and then sometimes it can even begin to look as if to say the person is mental. All right, so 3 types of diabetes: congenital type 1 diabetes, adult onset diabetes, and then the Alzheimer's disease, which is the type 3 diabetes. Now, what are the causes of diabetes? What are the causes of diabetes? By and large, one of the greatest causes of diabetes is excessive over-acidity. Prolonged, intense, consistent, persistent, very high levels of over-acidity. You see, your body and my body, under normal circumstances, should be alkaline in nature. But lifestyle and many of the things we do cause our body to become over-acidified. Now, as we are acidifying, there is a provision in the system of the body to be eliminating that acid. By this acid, I mean toxins, I mean wastes. However, when there's a very high buildup of this acid or toxins or waste into the body, they begin to destroy many things. They destroy organs, they destroy glands. And one of the first glands they get to destroy is the pancreas. So over-acidity, waste buildup, toxin buildup is one of the foremost causes of diabetes. It's almost as if actually that there's no other cause of diabetes that will not pass through the route of waste, excessive buildup. Now, and what are the other things that cause diabetes? Anything that damages the pancreas. You remember we said the pancreas is a gland, is somewhere close to the gallbladder there, around the liver area there. Now, anything that damages the pancreas, and there can be many things: a chronic infection or acute infection that was not treated very well, pancreatitis leading to inflammation, anything that will cause inflammation of the pancreas, or any sickness that damages the pancreas, or autoimmune diseases or allergic diseases that damage the pancreas, or cancer or tumor that damage the pancreas, accident that damaged the pancreas, or they did an operation. For instance, maybe the person had issues in their gallbladder and they removed some things there, and then in the event they removed their pancreas also. All these can lead to diabetes. Anything that toils with the pancreas will create a diabetic condition in the body. All right, so that's number 2. Number 3, anything or any lifestyle that overdrives the pancreas. A lifestyle that overdrives the pancreas. What do I mean by that? Now, so when you eat, your the food nutrients that you eat turn to glucose in your body. Okay, the nutrients that you eat turn to glucose in your body, especially the fatty acid and the carbohydrates. They are broken down, to glucose, and the insulin goes around binding the glucose to take them into the cell. Now, if you are in the habit of eating, when people are in the habit of eating very high carbohydrate foods, and they eat a lot of it, and they eat it for several years on end, okay, after some time, their pancreas becomes tired. A good example will be, so in this part of the world, we use power generators. However, power generators are supposed to be standbys to the normal power that comes from the grid. But due to one reason or the other, if the grid is failing, and as such you have to be on your power generator 8 hours, 12 hours, 13 hours, 14 hours, 18 hours a day, or sometimes maybe 24 hours, depending on what kind of business you are doing, that generator will have issues. So if I bought the same type of generator, same model, same power of generator, and then you bought the same type of generator, same model, same power on the same day, and you are using your own for 18 hours, you are the one who should use your own for 18 hours. Let me use my own for 4 hours. After like 2 years, your generation and my generator will not be the same thing. Most probably yours will be sickly and mine will not be. Reason why I have overdriven it. All right, so just keep that thought. I'll go on a short break. When I come back, we'll continue on discussing how to conquer high blood sugar. Do not go away. I'll be right back. Now, so we started by looking at what high blood sugar is and what creates it, how come about it in your body and my body. Okay, so we also looked at the types of high blood sugar. We said there's type 1, which is the juvenile onset diabetes, type 2, adult onset diabetes, and the type 3, which is the Alzheimer's diabetes, okay, or Alzheimer's disease. All right, or which manifests as Alzheimer's disease. Now, we were looking at the causes just before we went on a break. We said excessive over toxicity or over acidity, one, and then anything that damages the pancreas, infections, inflammations, autoimmune diseases, allergies, cancers, tumors, accidents, operation that removes all or part of the pancreas and all that. And then anything or lifestyle that overdrives the pancreas. Now, what are the lifestyles that can overdrive the pancreas? I give the example of if you overdrive your generator, but I don't overdrive mine. By 2 years' time, your generator will look as if you bought it 6 years ago, and my generator will still be looking somewhat intact. Now, that's overdriving. Now, what can overdrive the pancreas? Eating excessive carbohydrates. Eating carbohydrates every time, eating large volumes of carbohydrates, and then eating once very high complex carbohydrates, okay, and then eating them regularly too much. All right, and that's part of how we eat here. You know, there are some places, they can eat pounded yam morning, afternoon, and night. And then some people, they can eat eba morning, afternoon, and night. Other places, they can eat cassava morning, afternoon, and night, and all that. That's eating excessive carbohydrates. And then what's even worse is eating chemicalized carbohydrates or carbohydrates that are artificial carbohydrates that have been tampered with, spaghetti, macaroni, noodles, pastas and pastries generally, okay, carbohydrates that have been abused, okay, those are very terrible foods. Those are very, very terrible foods. The body, one way or the other, is unable to deal with those things, okay. So if one keeps eating them, the things we call junk foods, you know. You enter into the average eatery today, it's all smelling nice, every perfume everywhere, and then they bring out the food has several colors. You see yellow, you see red, you see black, you see purple, you see all kinds of things, and then yum yum yum, and now we're eating all those. Anything that has been tampered with between the garden and the table or the kitchen, let's say the table, that food is not fit to be eaten. So you are eating red color food, blue color, and all those kinds of things. All those things damage the pancreas. Why? So immediately after you eat, so the pancreas goes to work to generate more insulin to escort the glucose into the cells. Now, if you are eating all these plenty of carbohydrates, or you are eating carbohydrates that the body cannot handle with ease, the pancreas will be working. Another good example of overdriving is, you remember, I'm in the mood of using generator sets as an example today. If you get these 1 kVA generators, and then you decide to put a fan on it, you put maybe an iron, you plug iron on it, you see the voice of that generator change. As a matter of fact, some generators will just shut down, others they will change, and then and all those kinds of things. You are overdriving it. If you keep doing that to that generator, even though you just bought it, after some time it will pack up. So those are examples of overdriving. Eating foods, pastas, pastries, spaghetti, macaroni, noodles, pastas, pastries, all these funny foods everywhere. All right, so those are that. We call them junk foods. Now, other causes that are not related with food: inactivity, sedentary lifestyle. I mean, more and more of that in this generation. We work hard, not that we are lazy, not that we are not hardworking in this generation, but many of the work we do, we sit in one place. God did not create your body and my body for inactivity, actually. You know, one day I was meditating, and it occurred to me, I remember the verse of the scripture. Bible says, and God took the man that created, and he put him in the garden to till the garden. When you read that, without reflecting on it, you would think that God put Adam there so that Adam will be able to cultivate his food. But that's not true. Adam was not required to cultivate his food. His food was already grown before he was born. So at the moment he came to, God told him, you see all these trees, you can eat them. Those were his foods. So God didn't put Adam there so he can, with a mentality of if you don't work, you cannot eat. That was not the mentality. One of the points behind making Adam, ensuring that Adam worked, were two things. Number one, for the sake of productivity. For the sake of productivity, God is a producing God. God has a product. Man should also have a product. That's number one. Number two, for activity. For activity. You and I are not created to stay in one place. Sedentary lifestyle is not our life. That's why you see that we are becoming more and more sick in this generation, because we sit more and more. Our older generations, okay, I've told the story of how I schooled in my village. And it was from 3 that I transferred to my village. And for the first 1 month, I was telling my uncle, I wanted to follow you to farm. He said, relax. One day just told me, Friday night, tomorrow morning, Saturday, we are going to farm. I was so excited. By 4, he had woken me up. I washed my face, and then we started the journey. Okay. Before we even got to the point where we will say it is the farm pathway, it was like 15 minutes walk. And then we started walking. By the time we walked like 1 hour, I was getting exhausted. So I asked my uncle, when are we getting there? He said, we will soon get there. And then after like another 30 minutes, have we not reached? We will soon reach. I do not exaggerate. We walked about 2.5 hours to go to farm that day. And then we got there. Of course, by the time I got there, I was fagged out. I just looked for somewhere to lie down. And then he walked, and walked. and then during lunch he woke me to eat what the yam that they had roasted, and then he walked again, and then in the evening walked about 2 hours back, 2.5 hours back. Now that is activity. That's why they may look older in the village, but they are not. They are healthier many times. They may look older, but they are healthier many times. They are more fit because of activity. You and I are created for activity. One of the causes of diabetes and many other diseases is sedentary lifestyle. Okay, and then we're going to talk of how you are going to overcome it. Also, weight gain, obesity. Obesity is a cause of diabetes. Actually, diabetes can lead to obesity. Obesity can also lead to diabetes. Whichever one comes first, they literally are like June and July. Okay, and then stress. And you will agree with me, stress is top notch in our generation. Stress everywhere. Stress of the mind, stress of the mental stress, emotional stress, psychological stress, physical stress. Your life seems to be at threat everywhere. All kinds of things are happening. Okay, unrest everywhere, violence everywhere, bad news everywhere, threatening news everywhere. All these things keep us under stress. And then no thanks to the traffic, to all kinds of things. Even the weather is growing wings. You know, when it is hot, it looks as if they sent it to come and oppress us. When it is cold, it looks as if we should run away, and all those kinds of things. Okay, so stress everywhere. Okay, targets, you know, at work, all kinds of things, deadlines, all manners of things. And then, of course, age. As you are aging, because the pancreas is becoming tired, the pancreas may begin to produce less and less amount of insulin, or even more amounts of insulin that are not fit. Okay, and all that. So these are the causes. Of course, we have said it can also be congenital. It could have been there from when the person was born. Okay, but it may show up sometime later. All right, so those are the causes. All right, whichever way it goes, when diabetes has come and it has established, it can cause a whole lot of things. We'll go on a short break. When we come back, we'll talk on the signs and the symptoms of high blood sugar. Please do not go away. I'll be right back. All right, we've looked at several things. We looked at the types, we looked at the causes, and then we've explained what high blood sugar is all about. Okay, before we just go on, I think I forgot to say this, and I'll say it here. Now, normal blood sugar should be somewhere between 70 milligram percent to 100, some people say 110 milligram percent, that fasting blood sugar. Fasting, you wake up in the morning and before 9, before you eat anything, that's about 12 hours after you ate your last meal. They are checking your blood sugar. It should be between 70 to 110, thereabout. Now, by the time it is reaching up to 115, excuse me, we say you are in the borders of high blood sugar. You are in the borders of high blood sugar in a situation we call the metabolic syndrome. In metabolic syndrome, the person may be in the borders of high blood sugar, borders of high blood pressure, and borders of high cholesterol level. Okay, now somebody is in this category, he really needs to watch it. His body is trying to tell him that, hey guy, if we don't change our lifestyle, we may end up where we do not like. Okay, so but from 120 up, you do it once, you do it twice, you do it thrice, and your fasting blood sugar is 120, 150 and above. Some people will get 300 and something, some people get 400 and something, and that's established high blood sugar. Now, so what are the symptoms? And then, of course, if it is lower, 60 something and lower, then you are in low blood sugar. Now, what are the signs and the symptoms of high blood sugar? Tiredness. Person will always be tired okay, breathlessness, the person will always be hungry, polydipsia, polyphagia, always hungry, always craving. There is high craving for carbohydrate foods. The person just want to eat. They want to eat pastas. They want to eat pastries. They just want to eat things. They are always hungry. 2 hours after they have eaten their last meal, their body will be shaking. Okay, so we call it polyphagia. There can also be polyuria. The person can be urinating too many times in a day. They can urinate up to like 15 times in a day, and not only many times, they are also urinating very high volumes of urine per time. Okay, so very high volumes of urine, and then you are doing it several times a day and in the night. Okay, that's polyuria. Of course, because you are passing out a lot of water, the person will be experiencing thirst, and we call that polydipsia. Okay, so other signs of high blood pressure, high blood sugar, are loss of weight. The person can be losing weight. The person can also, especially initially, be gaining weight. There can also be blurring of visions. So the person's vision is blurring. You are not seeing quite well any longer. Okay, when that has begun to happen, that means there's some damage to your retina has begun to happen, what we refer to as retinopathy. There can also be a foggy brain. You can't, your retrieval of information is slowed, okay, and all that. Foggy brain, concentration is a bit foggy, all right. And then there can also be neuropathy. What is neuropathy? Peppery sensation, burning sensation, or tingling sensation in your skins, especially in your extremities. Burning, tingling, or peppery sensations. And then there can be no sensation at all. Okay, what our people call tatangwele or kwaja. It depends on whichever way you are coming. So loss of sensation, burning sensation, tingling sensation, peppery sensations. Okay, all these are signs that the person, it shows that the high blood sugar streaming around inside your blood vessel are already damaging your nerves. When you are having eye issues, it's already damaging your eyes, it's damaging your retina, it's damaging your lens and all that. So several things, those are the few things that can be happening in somebody's body, and they will know that they are having diabetes. So tests to do, the person will have to do a fasting blood sugar, they have to do a urine analysis, and then some other things. If your fasting blood sugar once or twice is higher than 120 and above, then the person might be in established diabetes. Now, so these are the signs and symptoms. Now, there can be complications. This is very important. If you are battling with diabetes, don't joke with it. It can destroy your life. Diabetes is one of the foremost causes of blindness. Diabetes is one of the foremost causes of renal failure. When the person begins to have signs of neuropathy, glomerulosclerosis, the shrinking of the glomerulus, the shrinking of the kidneys, okay, and then it can lead to kidney failure, okay, it can lead to blindness. I've said that. So, and then it can also lead to thickening of the arterioles and the arteries. What are the arterioles and the arteries? These are the small arteries and the big arteries that take blood away from the heart to the extremities. It can lead to their thickening. And then we have what we call arteriosclerosis and atherosclerosis. If not worked on, it can lead to gangrene. Now, if all these blood vessels continue to thicken, they can literally become blocked, and then blood will not be able to get to the extremities again. So it can lead to gangrene. People have lost their toes, people have even lost their feet, some have lost their hands, and all kinds of things. Complications of diabetes, it can lead to blindness. We have said that. It can lead to stroke. It can lead to erectile dysfunction. Okay, I say, in fact, one out of every 3 of diabetes sufferers are battling with erectile dysfunction. What's erectile dysfunction? Inability to achieve an erection strong and persistent enough for normal sexual activity. Okay, it can lead to that. It can lead to cardiac arrest, and of course, diabetes can lead to hypertension, and hypertension can lead to diabetes. Okay, 2 of them, like I said earlier, these are also June and July. One can bring the other one can bring this other one. It can damage the heart in a cardiomyopathy. It can lead to memory loss, Alzheimer's disease. Many people who end up with Alzheimer's disease in old age must have battled one way or the other with memory loss without knowing it. And then I said it can lead to renal failure. These are very terrible complications, and you don't want to wait till you are getting to those places. All right, so these are the complications. Now, how do you manage diabetes? How do you manage diabetes? How do you ensure that diabetes doesn't take you out? Okay, I mean, I will never forget one of my playmates while growing up died. He must have died maybe around 25 of diabetes. It was so terribly bad, and it's well, I wish I knew some of the things I knew now. The guy literally, his diabetes was crazy. He will wee on his body when he's sleeping. In fact, he became so weak he couldn't move around, looked almost like a skeleton, and he couldn't see after some time before the thing eventually killed him. All right, so how do you manage it? Number one, dietary. Increase fiber in your food. Increase the fiber content of your food. Okay. Okay. So what are fiber? Plantago vata. It's a fiber food. We also have in our as our product line fiber cocktail. Our fiber cocktail is very powerful. You just take 1 tablespoon, you put it in water, and you drink it after you eat every meal. It's fantastic. We also have insolu fiber. Insolu fiber is also very good. I mean, these are things you just take 1 tablespoon and then you eat it. But how can you increase fiber in your food all by yourself? Eat a lot more vegetables and a lot more fruits. You can eat them. You can also blend coconuts. You blend coconuts and then you drink the water, and then you bring out the chaff, and then you dry it, and then you bring it back and you blend it dry. It becomes like a powder, and then you can store that. 2 tablespoons, 3 tablespoons in water, and you drink it after you eat every meal. That's a lot of fiber for you. You can do the same thing with tiger nut chaff. But if you are battling diabetes, do not drink the water of tiger nut. But the chaff, you can bring it, blend it, and then do it. But okay, so all that. So what will fiber do for you? When you eat meals along with fiber, they keep the glucose in the food from rushing into your bloodstream. When you eat foods that are high in fiber, they keep the glucose in the bloodstream in the food from rushing into your bloodstream. That way, your pancreas is able to manage the use of that glucose. So that's why fiber is very good for everybody, especially for somebody who is battling diabetes. Other ways also, don't eat thrice a day. For everybody, including the person who is managing diabetes, do not eat thrice a day. Eat at least 1.5 times a day, or at most 1.5 times a day, or at most twice a day. One meal around 10 a.m., 11 a.m., another meal around 6 p.m. This is very important, and I get excited. I was sharing, we're doing training today, and earlier before I came into the studio, and I was sharing with somebody about intermittent fasting, eating twice a day, morning around 11 a.m. and 6 p.m. And he occurred to me, God fed the children of Israel only twice a day. Bible says he led them throughout the wilderness, and there was none feeble amongst them. There was no sickness in that camp, and he was feeding them twice a day. And then Mr. Ekele reminded me, he said, do you also know that the ravens that fed Elijah fed him only morning and night? That's awesome. That's awesome. Don't eat twice a day. Eat from 35 minutes. 35 years, when you are eating twice a day, you are over laboring your pancreas, and that ain't good for you at all. All right, we'll go on a short break and then we'll come back. Please do not go away. I'll be right back. All right, you're welcome back. Okay, before I go into the talk of today, I just wanted to quickly remind you at this point that you can follow us on our social media handle on YouTube, Dr. Chris Williams. We have loads of video there that you can be watching, so you can be held there. All right, and when you get there, make sure you help us subscribe, you turn on your notification, and then you also subscribe, and then copy it and send the link to somebody. Also on this channel, you can view this program on this channel every time, and try and not view alone. Invite somebody and tell them that Dr. Chris is live. Also, we do trainings. Every second Wednesday to Friday of the month. Second Wednesday to Friday of the month, we do trainings, and you can be part of our training. All right, they are paid training, 3 days training, powerful training. Literally almost all we know will put into your mind, and then you'll be able to function exactly as we are functioning. All right, I will do more notices towards the end. Now, so we're talking about management. We said number one, increase fiber content in your food. Also reduce your eating. And then stop eating animal proteins except fish. Stop eating animal proteins except fish. Eat only fish, especially the drier the better. Stop eating turkey, chicken, beef. Stop all that. All right, and then remove anything sweet and sugary from your food, including honey, including fruits, anything. If you are dealing with diabetes or you are trying to prevent diabetes, anything sweet at all, just say farewell to them. If you must eat them very judiciously, very stingily. Eat them. Anything made from flour, pastas and pastries, all these noodles and all and the likes, remove them from your food. Also, fries and oils. Stop frying food. Use healthy oils like sesame oil, like olive oil, like sesame oil, like olive oil. Those are the oils. Canola oil. Those are the oils that you can use. And then spices, reduce the use of spices, or you remove them completely. Spices, all the chemical spices that they use to cook food, rather use natural spices. All right, so what are the things to eat? Go for grains. Millets, guinea corn, oats. Those, grind them dry, and then those are the things you can use to turn your meals. You can also mix some of these with cabbage, with garden eggs, with cucumber, with lettuce. You blend all these things, cabbage, cucumber, garden eggs, or any one of them. You blend it, and then you mix it with some millet. It turns into a meal, and you can eat it. That's a very fantastic, wise way for diabetic eating. You will eat to your fill, but you will have not taken a lot of carbohydrates. I don't know if you get what I just said. So you take, instead of taking this much millet, you take this much millet, and then this much cabbage, and then you cook them together. You can see videos for this on YouTube, and then it turns into a solid meal for us in this part of the world that like meals, and then you can use them to make your meals. So grains, millet, guinea corn, remove tubers, cassava, gari, and yam, remove them from your food. Eat a lot of beans, eat a lot of you can eat a lot of beans, eat unripe plantain. You can also make meals from it, or you make meals, you can eat rice, especially basmati rice. And then another trick to eating in diabetes is exercise after you have eaten. Try and do like 20 minutes walk each time you eat. Other things you need to do is exercises. Any person battling diabetes must exercise adequately, maybe like 60 minutes in a day. Rest very well. Try and get like 7 hours of sleep on a daily basis, and then manage stress. Resting, recreation, relaxation. Manage stress. Time will not permit us to talk about other ways you manage stress. Now, so those are the things you can do. Okay, change your meditation. Change your meditation. Change your meditation. Stop worrying. Stop being anxious. Give up on being sorrowful. Become alive. Be happy. Okay, because your emotion also tells a lot on whether you are well or not. Very, very important. The word of God says, a merry heart doeth good like medicine, but a broken spirit dries the bones. It dries the bones. All right, so those are the things that you can do. All right, part of what you should do is colonics, the use of enema. Now, if you're interested, we have this enema can that we are packaged together with a very long outlet. Most enema cans they have in the market are very short outlets, something this long as this, and then they can barely hardly enter into your anus. Okay, I mean, what we have as a very long outlet, almost like 5 meters. Well, not 5 meters. What am I saying? Almost like 1.5 meters or close to 2 meters. Okay, 1.5 meters, more like 1.5 meters, such that you can put the tubes, okay, all way up inside your colon. I did one yesterday, and amazing. When I do my colonies or I do my enema, I mean, I push it, and literally I can push the tube literally this long into my body, or even a bit longer, well lubricated, and then I go and deposit the enema fluid there, and then the thing will just flush me out. Beautiful. If you do enema regularly, sickness can hardly grow in your body, because most chronic diseases start from the gut. Most chronic diseases develop from the gut. All right, so those are the things. So supplements. Supplements to need for you to use for diabetes. Recently, about less than a year ago, we began to use some new supplements that have helped our clients tremendously. Ones that are battling with their diabetes was so bad they were using insulin, sometimes 3 times insulin in a day. I mean, they have reduced to 1 insulin in a day. Some have even gone off insulin altogether. People have, I mean, their blood, if you are battling with uncontrolled blood sugar, even despite the fact that you are using all these diabetic drugs, then you need to give us a call. These are fantastic supplements. We are using Nitida, we are using Venodala and Mochanta. Nitida, Venodala, and Mochanta. These are supplements that they will command your blood sugar to behave itself. Other supplements are blood glucose supplements, membrane oil, Karl Marx zinc, and then there are also nerve stabilizers. I got a beautiful testimony yesterday. One woman had very terrible neuropathy. The tingling, the burning sensation, everything was complete. Literally, that woman, she didn't understand herself again. And then we sent the things to her in Mina. And then 2 days after she started the supplements, those things ceased. Literally, it was as if somebody poured cold water on her and all those things ceased. Okay, so we have a nerve stabilizer, and then there's a ubiquin. You can also use ubiquin, coenzyme Q10, vitamin D3, and then chamomile. These are calming agents. Chamomile, skullcap, okay, lemon balm. These are things, relaxing tea. These are things to relax you, to help you control stress some more. And then, of course, if you will, we can send to you the enema can. All right, thank you so much for viewing today. All right, it's important you know this. Your being healthy is your responsibility. Don't keep or don't abandon your health to somebody. You have to take care and be responsible for your health. All right, we have some of our books still available. The Sickness Free, Dr. Chris Williams and Daniel Ekene, Sickness Free Fail-Proof Protocol for Regaining and Retaining Health is still on sale. And then for concerning what we just spoke about today, Reversing Diabetes Naturally. Diabetes can be reversed naturally, and there you can read the book about it. Also, we have Reversing Depression Naturally. Reversing Depression Naturally, it's also available. And then there's this book, beautiful book by Daniel Ekele, Living a Disease-Free Life. It's also available. And then we also have Make Your Food Your Medicine. Make Your Food by Medicine by Itoro Efionbrag. She's a culinary expert, but she's one with an alkaline mindset. Thank you so much for watching. Do not forget YouTube, Dr. Dr. Chris Williams. I'm on YouTube, and then you can reach us with these numbers scrolling. Especially WhatsApp. Drop us a message there, even if it takes 24 hours. I personally will respond to you, whatever it is. All right. Okay. So when you get to YouTube, Dr. Chris Williams, make sure you send the link to somebody, and then you subscribe and turn on your notification. We are also on Instagram, and then we are also on Facebook, and then we do trainings every second week of the month, Wednesday to Friday. We do trainings, and they are paid trainings, and then you'll be able to get some certificate of participation or the order. All right. So yes, also we can speak in your seminars, your conferences, your church. We do corporate trainings. We have trained with the First Bank Academy, that we call the First Academy. We have trained for MTN. We have trained for Federal Inland Revenue, and then Lagos State, or your state, several other corporate bodies, and numerous churches. Literally countless churches, almost countless churches. We have spoken for them. We can come, if you just let us know, we can come to your board and talk to your people. Thank you so much for watching. Till I come your way again. Bye-bye.